My name is Dantes Akram. I'm a 23-year-old entrepreneur from Cleveland, Ohio, father, hustler, 2-time 6-figure business owner, and as well as a 7-figure business owner. I own the #1 clothing brand server in the world, Limitless Investments. Come check us out. Yo, welcome back to another YouTube video. It's your boy, The Real Tez, aka Dantes Akram. If you guys have not subscribed already, you're crazy as hell for watching the first 5 seconds you haven't subscribed. So I need you to go ahead and slam that subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys leave all your comments down below. I try to respond to each and every one of them. So with that being said, leave all your questions, comments, concerns, leave all of those things down below. Make sure you guys check out our description. Shout out to our sponsor, Limitless Investments. It is the #1 clothing brand Discord server in the entire world, where we give you guys sports bets, investing advice, obviously with licenses and things like that. However, we also give you guys business mindset classes and a bunch of other things, all for dope prices. So all you gotta do is click the link down below in the chat if you guys want to check more of it out. But other than that, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Let's get it.
We're gonna get right into it. Knowing what you know now, what's some pieces of advice you give your 18-year-old self?
So I think for me, like, the reason I even wanted to make a YouTube video on the advice that I would give to my 18-year-old self was because I started to sit back and think about all the mistakes that I made. And the couple pieces of advice that I would give my 18-year-old self would be the following. #1, understand that it's okay to be exactly who you are. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people are scared to be true to who they are, and I think that's one of the biggest strengths you could possibly have in the world, is just knowing that you are you and you're one of one. And when you just stay true to being one of one, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get to where you're trying to get to, instead of trying to live a false life or a facade of a life in a way. So the first thing I would say is just understand who you are, right? #2, I would say is, man, whether it's male or female, is just be careful of who you decide to put a lot of your time into. I think a lot of people end up trying to focus on dating in those age ranges to fill a void, or to fill this, or to help with, what's the word I would say, pleasure. But what I've realized about pleasure is that you want to try to delay that as much as possible, especially at young ages, because there's other things that you need to substitute pleasure with to get to where you're trying to get to, whether it's a large amount of money, nice house, being married with kids. It depends on what you're trying to go for. But I think when you learn how to limit your pleasure early in life, it's going to be a lot easier for you as you're growing through your 20s, because there's going to be multiple instances where you want to go and break, rules that you have set for yourself, but you end up being like, all right, look, I'm gonna be a little bit more disciplined. I know I want pleasure, but now let me substitute the pleasure with discipline, because this dopamine effect that I get after actually accomplishing my goals is gonna feel a lot better. And then the third piece of advice I would give to an 18-year-old is, even to my 18-year-old self, is read way more. I know it seems stupid now. You just came out of high school, you was reading a lot of these dumbass books, and none of them made sense. Nothing actually translate to real life. But let me tell you something. The books that they gave you are 9 times out of 10 not going to help you in life, right? But what I can say is, if you learn how to read and you learn how to actually learn, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get older and then look for books that can help you with certain situations. So I feel like a lot of the books now that I have either helped me financially, helped me physically with how I try to appear or how I go about things, and then help me mentally, just being able to overcome certain obstacles. So those are 3 pieces of advice that I would give my 18-year-old self. And if you're watching this, whether you 18, 21, 25, 35, or 45, these things can pertain to you if you feel like you're missing some of these qualities and traits. So,
okay, let's dive a little deeper into some of those that you mentioned. One, you said the significance of staying true to you. Why is that so significant? Like, why can't I strive to be somebody else?
I would say this. I think it's good to be a student as long as you're following the right leader. But it's going to be very hard for you to lead if you've never been led before. So I think when you are true to yourself, and you're trying to bring about students, or you're trying to get other people to follow you in your ways, or even just people to be influenced by you, I think it's very important to be true to you. Because what's going to happen in life is, when you're not true to yourself, there's going to be moments where your fake self and your real self start colliding in certain moments. And then people are like, is this really who they say they are? And really, it doesn't matter what nobody else thinks. But at the end of the day, when you lay down, or when you wake up and you brush your teeth and you look in the mirror, are you really real? That's like one of the most common things that I ask myself during the days is like, damn, did I go about this the right way? Did I stay true to myself? Am I authentic? Those are real things that you should keep to you dearly, because at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't real right now. You got so many metrics in social media that are making people change who they are, that if you just learn how to stay true to yourself regardless of metrics, the metrics will come because you are who you are, and there's only one of you. So I think that's going to be the best way for growth in every area, in every aspect of life, is just staying true to you.
And with things like that, with things like social media and people telling you who you can and cannot be, what you can and cannot do, what are some strategies that you can share that help you learn who you are despite all the noise in each year?
I mean, first, I look back in the past. Like, if I really want to understand who I am, I need to understand what I've been through and if I've even healed through them. You know, I even had a conversation about this before where, you know, I haven't healed from certain situations, and I can tell now. But before, I was just kind of putting fog over it and hoping that I can figure my way out through it. In reality, what I've realized about being a real man is that even when it makes you uncomfortable, even when it's pain in the midst of all of that, you got to learn how to be skillful enough to overcome it. And that's something that I read from a book that you actually gave me, that you know, shouted out or recommended to me. This, The Way of the Superior Man, is, you know, understanding how to be true to you, but skillful in getting over certain painful things that most men are too afraid of getting over. A lot of men don't have backbone. A lot of men don't have heart. And it's like, damn, when I was reading these things, I'm like, damn, these are all traits and qualities that, you know, besides the not having heart and not having a backbone, the other qualities that they were stating, I'm like, damn, those align with what I do. But now I'm recognizing the two different things, and now I know I'm way on this spectrum as opposed to this on this spectrum. But why am I like that? Okay, because of my past experiences, I went through X, Y, and Z, and it made me realize this, and this. Okay, perfect. But then also, when it comes to people telling you about who you should be and what you should try to do on social media, you just got to realize that those are all opinions. Because a lot of these people who are telling you to do X, Y, and Z aren't doing what they're doing. They aren't doing what they're telling you over a long period of time. So it's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to hear on social media, and a lot of it is fake. I'm not going to lie. But the thing is people do it for metrics. They do it for likes. So if you're really doing it in real life, imagine how it's going to be in real life on social media. And when you just being true to yourself to gain all these followers and knowing that you're being authentic and you getting the likes and you getting the engagement, even if it don't come, it's just dope as fuck knowing that you are who you say you are. And when you walk around, you know, shit, I'm that nigga, or I'm that girl, or, you know what I'm saying, I'm that person, because I am staying true to who I am.
For sure. How do we choose the right books to read?
So I think, man, it depends on what stage you are in life. If you're trying to find the right books to read, I think the number one thing you have to look at is what portion of your life are you trying to fix first. At 18 years old, 9 times out of 10, your first goal is to get some money. So the first books that I would recommend to you are financial books. The first book I would tell you is The Richest Man in Babylon, right? The second book I would tell you is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Third book, Think and Grow Rich. Fourth book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is where you need to learn when you're making money how not to care about what people think of you making your money. So I think those are 4 books that I would give any 18-year-old. And I said, yo, if you're serious about being successful before you turn 21, read these 3 books. Read them twice, actually, before you turn 21. That's 3 years. That gives you multiple months to actually read through those books. I would tell you to go get those books, read them, take them seriously, highlight them, and then go over them again. And by the time you turn 21, you'll know a lot of financially sound things that a 30, 40-year-old person doesn't know yet.
Sure. Speaking of finances, what are some financial pieces of advice you would give your 18-year-old self? Here's
the top pieces of advice I could give an 18-year-old to not mess yourself up financially. Number 1, stop worrying about going on dates, bro. Look, trust me, I understand it's dope to find a girl that you really like and then take her out. But let me tell you something. You're 18 right now. 9 times out of 10, that's not in today's society. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's probably not gonna be the girl you end up marrying. So instead of taking out all these different girls, focus on going to the gym and focus on learning how to gain more skill sets. That's number 1. Number 2, the next thing that I would tell you is focus heavily on going to the gym, right? Being more inclined to wake up in the morning and being more inclined to actually going and working on your health is going to help you way more than focusing on anything else in life, because your health is your wealth. So what can you do with $1 million if you're not healthy enough to spend $1 million? You got to actually go balance those things, right? The second thing that I would say is, bro, if you really want to be financially sound, don't rush out of your parents' house, right? Because a lot of people right now, here's a statistic that I was reading, right? I think it was like 46% of people who graduated college and are in their 30s right now, between the ages of 25 and 38, are moving back in with their parents. So the reason that's happening is because, number one, they either didn't know certain things financially and it messed them up. Right? They took a big hit. They took on a lot of debt. They didn't know nothing about debt. They didn't know nothing about those things. So if you learn those things earlier, you could probably deflect a lot of those issues. However, on top of that, I think the biggest issue is that they rushed too early and they never got a chance to truly stack. So before they moved out of their parents' house, they didn't have no assets. They didn't have the knowledge, and they didn't have the skill sets. Those are all three things that you absolutely need to get to $1 million or multi-million dollars or even $1 billion. You need those three things. So I think for any 18-year-old, you should take the things that I'm saying right now and really like take them to heart, because I'm not telling you as if, you know, I wouldn't have done it myself. If I have a child right now, when she turns 18, you're gonna be the same things that I tell her, leave these dudes alone, don't be going on dates, go to the gym, read these books, and focus on skill sets and learn how to learn the differences of asset classes. Best piece of advice I can give you.
So you saying at 18, I shouldn't move out my mama crib even when social media is telling me I'm a bum for staying with my foot?
Let me tell you something. Social media will tell you you're a bum no matter what you do, right? But if the issue is that people are concerned about where you live and you're trying to rush your way into destruction by moving out too early, here's the problem with that, right? 10 times out of 10, at 18, you have never balanced any of your books financially. So you don't even know how much you're really making consistently, and you don't know how much you're spending consistently. So when you add on a responsibility, you got to realize that monthly rent, mortgage, lease, whatever it is, that's you have to pay that. And the worst thing you can do is by trying to move out of your parents' house too quickly. Now, again, it's different if the option is on the table for you to stay there. This is for the people who have the option and decide to move anyways, because they want to show that they're independent and they want to show that I have a lot of stuff going for myself and I want to have this nice house and I want to be, look, trust me, I completely understand, but let me tell you something. A lot of people who take that route end up moving back in with their parents between the ages of 26 and 38. That's just a flat out fact. So if you don't want to be that person, for me, I believe that when I move out of my mom's house, I'm never going back to move in unless there's something health-wise going on with her and I need to. Even then, she gonna move in with me. So my end goal is always, when I leave, make sure that I'm completely sound before I ever leave out the house. That way I never have to worry about going back in. And again, whatever social media has to say, just remember, it's probably a person paying $1,600 a month, only getting paid $3,000 a month, driving a Benz that's $600-700 a month, and only really keeping about $500 in their bank every single month. So you got to ask yourself, are you willing to take advice from a person who's damn near living paycheck to paycheck, or take advice from a person who's already made the millions and hundreds of thousands in a month and a day and all those things that you're trying to do? So just vet who you actually learn from.
Society is also judgmental about jobs.
Yeah.
So speak on a little bit about like workplaces at that age, at a young age, like 18. What would you recommend to an 18-year-old who, you know what I'm saying, needed some money, but also society in his ear saying, oh, you a bum if you working here at McDonald's, or, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. What's your thoughts on that?
Let me be honest, yo. I think it's crazy that people like really shame people for working a job, because a lot of these people who work jobs actually have health insurance. You know what I'm saying? They have other insurance and other policies, and they're investing for themselves long term. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who say 9-to-5s are whack and all this stuff, but they don't net and profit $100K plus a year. It's just numbers that they're showing you. So what I've realized is, you know, it's kind of weird how people shame people who work these 9-to-5s when we need them in society. So what I would tell you is, don't even care about what somebody else has to say, and if they're an entrepreneur and stuff like that, who cares? Like, really, in reality, what do you want to do in life, and how do you plan on providing for your family, and further on, how are you going to provide for yourself? So what I would tell you is, it's okay to work a 9-to-5, but ask yourself, what 9-to-5 do you want to work at? Now that's a different conversation. Like, if you're being a history teacher and you know you're not going to get nowhere as a history teacher, then you shouldn't be a history teacher. You shouldn't even go to college for history or art or something like that, where you're not going to even get a return on your money. What I would tell you is, go look into the top industries right now. Number one right now, I think, for all African Americans, and even if you're a minority or whatever, go into the tech industry. There's so many people who are making 6 figures plus, actually bringing in 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, right? And on top of that, are able to work from home, do what they want when they want, right? Obviously outside of the times that they have with their job, but they get paid a great salary. And the thing is, I mean, if you're one of those people where you don't want the risk in life as for being an entrepreneur, completely understand. Take the route of working a tech job, be somebody valuable in society that we need, and then, you know what I'm saying, make your money, take care of your family, and then retire early and take the money that you're making and invest it into the side hustle that you're going to want to do as an entrepreneur. Do that on the side of what you're doing, stack your chips up, and then when that side hustle takes off, then you can think about leaving a 9 to 5. But at that point, when you're making so much money and you got so much freedom, you're probably not even going to want to leave. So end all be all, don't care about what people have to say about social media. And at the end of the day, money gonna come if you're working a 9 to 5. You just gotta know what 9 to 5 you want to work.
For sure. Now, are college at 18, is college and experience equally significant or equally beneficial, or is one more or less beneficial than the other?
Here's my viewpoints on college, right? I think that if you're trying to go for a significant role or job in society, you should definitely go to college. Like being a doctor, being a lawyer, being one of those like top industries where you're going to get paid a lot of money, but it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of debt. You should go for it if that's what you want to do, right? However, I will always believe that experience will always be the number one teacher. And I don't think, or I don't believe going to college right now in today's society is a necessity, because a lot of the times you're taking on debt. Not only are you taking on debt in money, but you're taking in debt in time, because now you have to sacrifice 4 to 8 years of your life to go after this craft where it's statistically proven that only 30% of people who actually graduate college even get a job in the field that they got a degree in. So you're damn near setting yourself up for failure if you're not one of the obsolete and really on top of your game and really studying and going crazy. But with that comes stress. With that comes not being able to balance your life and you being like, you know, there's a lot of emotional things that come with that. So what I would tell you guys is ask yourself which route you want to take. And then the next step is, if the experience is the way you want to go at it 2 feet, put 2 feet in. Like if you're 18 years old right now and you're trying to figure out if you're going to go to college or not, here's what I'm going to say. If you don't have the finances for college, you're trying to figure out if college is for you, or you just don't want to go to college, this is probably the best route for you. Take a gap year, right? That's exactly what I did. I took 1 year gap after high school, and I said, yo, I'm going to figure out what I want to do in life in this 1 year. And if I want to go to college on this exact month and day, I have to know if I'm going to go to college or not. I did that same exact thing. I went through experiences. I worked different jobs. I realized what it was like for all my friends to go to college. And then I got their experiences back of them being in college. Bro, the homework is this and da-da-da. I got to hear all of those things from people who are already doing what I was about to do. And now I'm able to say, all right, is this for me or is this not? So what I would tell you guys is experience is definitely going to be the best teacher. But ask yourself, is the role that you're trying to play in society or the role that you want in life involve you being in college, or can you go about finding the skill sets and learning from a mentor or learning by working the actual job? Because here's the thing, even with that Trump law that passed in like 2020 or 2019, he stated that you don't need a certain degree to get jobs in certain fields no more. It's based off experience. So now we're moving into an age where you don't always need a piece of paper to prove that you're qualified to work this certain job. You actually need the experience. So I think a lot of people should start seeking experience and seeking mentors in those certain fields, as opposed to just going to college. Because the thing with college is you're paying, let's say you pay $80,000 over the 4 years you go to college. You $80,000 in debt. They don't even help you go get the job. And there's no guarantee at all that you even gonna be able to pay back the debt that you just took on, even if you get the job. So those are essential things that you got to think about.
Okay, so we spoke on some physical things that you would tell your 18-year-old self. We spoke on some mental things. What are some spiritual things you would give to your 18-year-old self?
The best tips that I would give myself at 18 years old when it comes to like spirituality and balance and all of those things is just, number one, like whatever you were taught when you were young, ask yourself, is that still valid to this day for you? Do you still truly believe in those specific beliefs that you grew up on? All right, that's the first thing. You got to be true to yourself at all times. The second thing I would say is, if it is true, can you indulge in it more? Like pray more, bro. Like I wish I could tell myself at 18, just pray more, because it gives you that guidance that you need, and it gives you that balance of knowing that there's a higher being that is looking over you at all times. But when you're not praying, that guidance is not really there. And what I've realized even now, you know, I feel like sometimes we forget that praying is the most most important thing that you could possibly do, depending on your religion, if you even believe in it, right? But for some of us, we believe praying is the most, important thing you can do, but we get so distracted with life that we forget to pray. And then we wonder why we lose sight of the road that we're supposed to be on. So what I would tell my 18-year-old self would be pray more, read a little bit more about my religion and understand it, if that's truly the religion I want to go down. And if not, figure out what religion I do want to go down. If that's even something you're interested in, completely up to you. And then the last thing I would tell myself is just find balance and knowing that, just be open-minded. Like, there's going to be multiple religions that make sense. What I've learned is that my grandfather told me that he read 3 of the biggest books in religion, right? Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, right? He read all 3 books and he was able to balance and figure out which one worked best for him. So I said, wow, that's actually one of the smartest things I've ever heard, because most people only believe in this because they were taught this and are never open-minded to hearing what the other religion has to say or what this person's spiritual, beliefs are and things like that. And they just end up closed-minded. So I would say do those things to an 18-year-old, or even if you're 21, 20, 40, trying to find your way, it doesn't matter. Do those things.
Piggyback on that, the word open-mindedness at an 18-year-old, as an 18-year-old, speak on open-mindedness with everything, not just like religion or mental, physical, spiritual, with everything.
I think at 18, the number one thing you can do is be open-minded. I think you have to be a student to the game, and not even a student to the game. You have to be a student to life. For life, right? Because I think it's important for us to realize that if we're never open-minded, then we're not open to learning. And the problem with not being open to learning is that you always think you're right. And with that comes this authority and this ignorance to thinking that you're always right. So when you fail, you think that you're the only person with the solution, or you're the only person who failed in that particular situation, and you don't know anything but this one outcome. But if you were open-minded, you would go seek information, you go ask other people, you go read more books, you go watch more listen to more podcasts, or watch more YouTube videos to find the answers and solutions that you're looking for. So I would say at 18 years old, you have to be open-minded. Like, if I'm being honest with you, I don't think there's a world where you're going to be extremely successful without being open-minded and learning from people who are doing better than you. I don't think there's a world where you're going to be extremely successful and happy by not learning from the people who are either older than you or have more experience than you. And that is it, y'all. So if you guys like today's episode, advice that I would give my 18-year-old self, make sure you guys tap in and click that subscribe button. Yo, I know I forgot to say it in the middle of the video, so I'm going to say it right now. Hit the subscribe button, yo. Turn on the notification bell if you guys like this video. And again, drop your comments down below. What would you tell your 18-year-old self? Is there certain things that you agree with or didn't agree with what I talked about in today's episode? If you guys like more episodes like this, let me know. And if you guys want to see a certain video that I haven't talked about yet, drop it in the comments and I'll make a video on it. All right. So it's your boy, The Real Tez, aka Dontez Akram, bringing you guys my authentic self in this video. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next YouTube video. We out. Peace.